What's a proa? Can you answer that question? Took me about almost 10 years to be able to answer that question. The most dangerous boat in the world, yet the safest of all. That's a proa, guys. Make or break, armor, and Havaya 3025 Vaca. It's a big boat. I mean, this boat can go a long way. That's what it's designed for, that's what it's planned for, that's what it's made for. It's got a 12mm bottom on the bottom. So beaching should be okay. Everything is poplar ply. The bottom is, I don't know what it is. It's a poplar ply core, and it's got a top that almost looks like okume, and a bottom, the outer layers. But everything is like, the minimum is 1mm thick. It's not that paper stuff. Okay? It's a 7. It's a 7, and this is a millimeter. So I'm okay with that. I don't like the real thin veneer, the 0.5 that goes on the outside to make it just look good. You know what I'm saying? But oh yeah, I forgot the question. It was, what was a proa? Yeah. No boat has ever almost killed me like a proa did. Crystal clear, almost took me out in January. Man, we were bashing on the rocks. It took us about 4 hours. I got cut really bad. I got injured. There's another film on the internet talking about it. I got backwinded going out of a bay, and that's everything about a proa. For a proa to be safe, it's got to be an easy shunter. Okay, that's the first thing of what is a proa. It's got to be an easy shunter. If it's hard to shunt your boat and it takes a long time, you don't want that boat so much. If your boat, if the nose doesn't fall off the wind like a crab claw, because it's way on the bow, so it pushes the bow off, okay? Because the wind's on a beam, so your CE is so far ahead of your CLR that bam, the bow falls off, the boat starts sailing by itself. You pull in, you sheet in, warm your head up, and you're shunting, tacking, whatever you want to call it. So easy. Just the crab claw is a little bit hard to move for me, and you can't leaf it. I'd go with the crab claw. I love them. They're amazing legs, but you can't leaf it. So I got my the shank thing, and I'm fucking happy with it, man. And it almost works like a crab claw, because I move the sea way ahead. The bow falls off. The boat takes off. I sheet in. Boom. I'm hard. I'm hard on it already, and it happens in seconds. That's the first thing of a plow. You know what? I'll tell you what a plow is. It's a bloody dangerous boat if you don't know what the fuck you're doing, man. If you're not a sailor, and if you don't understand the sea, then you don't want a plow. You take a monohull, you take a catamaran, a real good one, you take whatever you want, but you don't take a plow. Plow will teach you a lesson. Crystal clear almost took us out on the rocks. Genia can't swim, and the boat's bashing on a rock, and the anchor bit in the last second, and if something would have happened, and I would have to go over this rocks, over this mess, over this waves, over all this white water, over everything that you can't see, that you're cutting your feet. My feet got really cut because I jumped off the boat and I was holding the boat while we were backwinded and on the rocks, and bam, bam, bam. The boat's bashing, the anchor bit in the last micron of a second. North Hill, the best anchor in the world. So I had a real experience on a proa, okay? I know what proas are. If you can't shunt easy, you don't want it. And low windage is better than high windage, I believe. And you got to understand the sea, you know? I mean, like, cause, okay, so waterline is over here. It's, the waterline is somewhere, I don't know. It's here. Here's waterline, try and show you. That's waterline going all the way like that. At 50 centimeters draft, and that leaves me 60 centimeters of bow above waterline. That's low windage. That's what I learned on this boy, man. He taught me. This was a junk canoe, I said earlier, and then I just rigged him up as a proa. And these low bows are the Polynesian way to do it, and they're the best. Well, Pacific way, Micronesian way, whatever you want to call it, way. Pacific way. There's low bows, not high windage, not high bows, not high bows. That's what I think a plow is. So if you don't understand the sea, you don't want to plow, because plow will kick your ass, man. It will frighten you off sailing and you'll never sail again. But if you're a sailor and if you know what you're doing, if you've got a shunter that shines, there's nothing better than a Proa. Nothing will ever beat a Proa. Nothing. You'll build it in 5 minutes, you'll build it. I'm going to build this boat with about 2,000 euro. A 25-foot Proa ready to go and should be able to go very far. And it's going to cost me the funny sum of 2,000 to 3,000 euro. And it's going to be a strong boat, and it's a test boat. And it's a testing the principles, and it's an understanding the future of sailing, and it's enough with this bullshit, this marine ply. Don't sorry me, excuse me, I don't want to say it, but that's what it is. I don't think BS 1088 or whatever it's called, that stuff, is any good if it's made out of okume. There's lots at the rate of poplar, so why not just use poplar that is glued up with phenol formaldehyde and is well made, and you know who makes it, and it's like the best in the West, and you've tested it and you've boil tested it and you've done all the tests to it in the world for this material that comes from that company, which is well there, made over here in Bulgaria, and you find that this stuff never delaminates, so it rots at the rate of okume. So why do I have to pay for okume and take on the weight that okume comes with? Might as well just make out of poplar and get the strongest boat in the world. See how long it lasts, and then we can teach, and then we can show, and then we can understand all together of us what is the true future of ply epoxy building, for example. Yes. So I was selling Baby Mana, and this is what's a Proa again. Let's go back there. We were there, weren't we? So I come into France. I made a shortcut. I was coming from England, so I took the Atlantic, and then I went into the Gironde, which is France, West France, and then I go down the Gironde, and then I'm doing locks and stuff, and then I'm in the Canal du Midi. That takes me down to the Med, and I come to Sète. At Sète, I'm hanging out with a neighbor guy on a boat. He had a sailboat, you know, everything over there is motorboats and stuff. He had a mast and stuff, and he had a 24, 25 foot, whatever mono, some mono. I'm on Baby Mana, she was the best mono in the world. We're hanging out, we're drinking beers, he's talking to me, he's a French guy from there, and he's giving me charts and stuff. He's telling out of his pilot book, he's telling out all the little charts that I'm going to need, and he's been so the best in the West. So he says to me, you know, what's the mistral? I said to him, yeah, it's a wind. It's a French wind over here, kind of. Comes from the Alps down onto the sea. He says to me, 5 knots to 30 knots in a second. He says, that's the mistral. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's hardcore. I've been in 35 knots, I've been maybe in 40 gusting when I was coming with Baby Mana. I've seen wind, I know wind, but I've never seen it like that, you know. But it's not like that so much like what he says, because at the end of the day, if you're from there, you know at what time it comes and at what seasons of the year, and you're expecting it, so it's not 1 second thing, because you know it's going to happen at about 10 o'clock in the morning. You see the ripples coming over there. You see the ripples only. You don't see all black skies and stuff and clouds and all that mess like you see in an ocean, and you know it's coming. You know it's coming from a day before, you know, for example. It's just little ripples on the water. And bam, you get hit, man. Whoa. And it's a hit, because you're full sail, you're all this. You're not even thinking about it. You might be sipping on your coffee, you might be sitting on your toilet or something, head, whatever you want to call it. It's not... But then Bernard Moutissier, he loved the Mistral, you know, he used to take it on a following wind, and he would ride it all the way to Corsica. I was this one thing, I'm trying to come into a harbor, to a little bay kind of a thing, and this thing's banging on me on the front, and I can't make it back. And I was tacking. It took me to get in, like to do a half an hour sail or 15 minutes, like a 2 mile. It was a 2 mile. It was a 2 mile. I had to come in against this stuff, and the waves are like that. It took me more than 2 hours. It took me 2.5 hours or something on Baby Mana to come in. I came in so wet. I came in knackered, man. It knackered the shit out of me. Now, Bernard, he says, yeah, just take it and go all the way to Corsica. That's where it's going, you know. And I was thinking about that, but I said, I'm not ready, I haven't got the food, the water, what I had, food I had, I mean, like, no problems, I could have just done it, eh? But I wasn't prepared to. I was like, my plan was go to where I'm going to and then hang out there for a few days and then fill up and all that stuff and then go to Corsica, you know. So that's the mistral, it's no big deal, but like if you don't understand the sea, and the sea eat you up, man, he spit you out, like that, you know. He don't got time for you, you know. If you don't know what the fuck you're doing, man, you just don't go to sea, okay? And better buy a monohull and better start off with something and learn how to sail and stuff and learn to understand the sea. And then the Proa's the safest boat in the world. That's what the most dangerous boat of the world is. The most safest. If you understand what's going down, you know. If you know the stuff. Guys, I'm going to knock off. So I got on the dagger board to make today. I'm going to later on edit some videos. I got a lot of videos of how I built the hull. You'll be seeing the hull very soon, like maybe in a day or two or a few days. Turned over and you'll see the inside. But I got all that stuff. I'll just edit it and upload it. I've just been kind of in this now, so I've been hanging out. But thanks for all the subscribers and stuff, and just keep hanging with us. Michael Blake, man, he's the king, man. I love this boat. Might go sailing next month with him. May the force be with me. Balkan Shipyards. Havaya 3025. Keep shunting, guys.